Hi guys, welcome to another edition of All Things Football. Today we've got a special edition. We are previewing the final between Liverpool and Chelsea for the League Cup 2022. Nikita, your team's in it. How are you feeling? How's the nerves?
Nerves have gotten to me this week. I've tried to immerse myself in work so I don't have to think about it. I mean, Klopp, Liverpool, not the greatest history when it comes to finals, but really hoping for us to pull it out the bag on Sunday. Just knowing that, form is basically irrelevant when it comes to a cup final. So that, I think, is really what's making me sweat properly.
Jason, you're probably very happy that your team won last night. Lucky win that it may have been, seeing that Wolves were doing so well. And then they kind of just sat back. But we're not going to get into that. How are you feeling with regards to the final now that your team's doing so well and you being a neutral in a final between two top teams?
Look, Mikel Arteta said that these last 17 games are going to be cup finals. So every game for me, Arsenal seem to make it like a cup final vibe. I think as a neutral, it's such an interesting prospect because, like Nikita says, form goes out to the window. So whilst Liverpool are flying at a very decent to very above average form, Chelsea, whilst not looking convincing, have still been getting points, still been getting wins. They won Club Cup recently. So it's always a good time when Tuchel comes up against Klopp. It's a great set of tacticians coming together with its fluid systems. So yeah, as a neutral, I'm very excited for this. It's nice to sit in a final and know, okay, maybe you're upset that your team's not there, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be fine either way at the end of it. So yeah, it's really exciting.
The big issue.
It's also a nice way for. Sorry, Wasim. I was just gonna say it's a nice way for us to kick off the kind of next 3 months, which for us also is going to be like playing in a cup final every week. So
yeah, exactly.
Maybe I'm gonna lose a lot of weight from all the stress, but good things are gonna happen either way.
Yeah, I think we've wanted a title race for so long, and it didn't look like there was going to be one. Now all of a sudden there is one, so it's good that every week is now could be a turning point in someone's season, one way or another. But I wanted to mention Lukaku for Chelsea. He's been a big signing, expensive signing, and all of a sudden he was dropped for a big Champions League game after having 7 touches in total against Crystal Palace. Jason, what do you make of that? Would you start him in a cup final and say, go, let's forget what happened recently and just go for it and let's try and get the win and bully the Liverpool defenders? Or do you say, no, his form is not good enough, expensive or not, he'll sit on the bench?
It is tricky, and I think I'm so happy that I'm sitting here in Cape Town and not having to make this hard decision. I think it comes down to, on the day, whether the system is working well. So they've been employing, I think it's Kai Havertz through the middle. I think what Lukaku gives you is maybe giving Liverpool a bit of a thought. It's his pedigree and what he did at Inter, what he did at Belgium. It's something that you can't write off. And finals are very special occasions. It's not something that you're just going to say, okay, no, he's been playing poorly, he's going to transfer that. Everybody's self-motivated for this final, and I think it's such a big rivalry with these two teams recently that I'd say throw him in. I'd say give Virgil and Matip, if Matip is the centre-back that pairs up with Virgil, give them something to think about. It might not be the most convincing game, and hopefully he gets more than 7 touches, but there's a thought, that you plant in their heads that, okay, maybe Alexander-Arnold can't bomb forward. Maybe Robertson can't, because whilst Lukaku can occupy the 2, they'd have some wingers coming through as well. So it's interesting. As a fan, I would say that I would start him just because he offers them something there. And I would disregard that 7 touches. It's in the past. Players of that stature, they can forget about that and turn up when it really matters. So yeah, I would go starting him.
Absolutely. I think he's a world-class player, and I think the price tag actually genuinely reflects that for the first time in a long time with kind of those 100 million pound players. And I think Jason's spot on, because my concern for this coming Sunday is the midfield. They, even with Kovacic out, I think still their midfield toe for toe kind of trumps ours, and I think that is going to be a big battle, and they'll probably win it there. So if there is, a little, pushing and shoving and toing and throwing between what I suspect will be Matip and Virgil, at the back, having to take care of a big guy like Lukaku, I think it's gonna make for interesting viewing and could potentially even give Chelsea the upper hand. So that makes me quite anxious. But I mean, we'll always be a threat. We'll always have opportunities. We'll always have chances to score. It's just about making sure that over the 90 you take the chances, and not leave it into extra time or penalties. That's not where I want to see it. I want to watch 90 minutes of ravishing football.
Yeah.
Proper toe-to-toe in midfield, at the back, and then hopefully with our boys in front, putting the ball in the back of the net a couple of times. It'll be nice.
I think with Liverpool's at the moment, their squad is so strong. I was looking at their squad, and for the last game, Harvey Elliott couldn't make the team. Top
And
talent
Joe
like
Gomez.
him, and Joe Gomez. I mean, Gomez a couple of seasons ago was
Gomez put in such a good performance. Who was it against? Who did they play before this? Norwich.
Norwich, yeah. Look, I mean, touch wood, but I've never seen such a strong squad, which is why I really believe, and even the form and the way we're playing, to have come out with all wins in January whilst we had no Mane, no Salah for 6 weeks is really exceptional. So the form is great. It's nice to see, but I really think, the scales are kind of tipped in Chelsea's favor. They've played a final in the last month, which I think is a big deal, away from home. And I think that's going to probably give them a bit of an edge. We're used to putting in performances consistently week on week, but it's really not about that. A draw is not going to get us anywhere. And we've come out twice with draws with Chelsea this year. So it's going to be interesting that there's finally a winner. I just really hope, for my stomach's sake, that it's not on penalties. That's just all I hope for. It must go one way or the other. I'll be sad or happy either way, but just not penalties.
I think if we look at the recent results with regards to these two teams, the last 4 games, Chelsea have won 1 game, Liverpool have won 1 game, and there's been 2 draws. So they are very, very difficult to separate. And I think that's what makes it an interesting game. Another part that also makes it interesting for me is the fact that these two squads are strong. So it's not only about, you get a cup final where one team plays they've got 11 good players, but then second half, they start getting tired and they don't have the players to bring on to change the game. Whereas in this scenario, we've actually got teams who can bring on a special player from the bench, a Pulisic or, a Luis Diaz, or, okay, you might start this game, but just different players who can impact the game. So I think that also makes it very interesting. But it's two teams who you really can't separate in terms of recent results. So I think that's what makes it also interesting, is that you don't know who's going to turn up on the day. There's been a couple of red cards in the recent games also between them. So there's lots of feistiness to it. So I think that's another aspect which just makes me, as a neutral, look forward to this game. Jason, what do you think about that?
Sorry, was just on mute there. No, 100%. Agree with everything you say. It comes down to just showing up on the day. These squads are so ridiculously loaded with players that play at a very high international level as well. So it's like for like, and Nikita mentioned that midfield battle becomes so critical, because I think both keepers provide the team with quite a bit of cover and reassurance from that backline. Both centre-back pairings are decent. So that midfield really, and I think Liverpool have maybe struggled a bit because Henderson hasn't been that usual calming figure that he usually is. So it's been a bit of a scrap here and there. I think he's come into a bit of form recently with a mini cameo now against Leeds. But yeah, it's really, it's down to which team shows up and actually implements their system quickly, and who's actually able to maintain it over an extended period of time. Because, I mean, chances will be created. Both teams create many chances. It comes down to those minuscule ones where you actually put it away, or you actually suffer that. So yeah, it's so exciting. And I'm a neutral, and I love the fact that I don't need to stress on Sunday. It's going to be so chilled.
That's one way of looking at it, with your team not being in the final. I don't have to worry. But I must say,
could look the other way and be upset.
But like you said, I think it's going to be a good game. Chelsea, and I know I say this with a lot of respect, they are a more defensive side than Liverpool are, but they don't have the opportunity to sit and low block us on Sunday. And I think that's fantastic. But to your point, Jason, I think another further tip in the scale towards Chelsea is the fact that Klopp is adamant that he's starting Kele this weekend because on the bench.
Yeah.
Which I think is utterly bizarre because, then you should be starting the likes of Curtis Jones and Takumi Minamino. And sure, if he does that, I might actually run away. And that is concerning. And you make such a valid point about Hendo. And with Chelsea's pressing game, and we've seen it before with teams that press, he's not a good receiver and mover of the ball when he's under pressure. And reality is, he's not going to play in the 6th role on Sunday. It will be Fab. So, I am getting more and more anxious that more and more we talk about it. I'm getting more and more stressed, guys. Thanks very much.
Guys, before we wrap up, I want to give predictions. I'm going to start with myself. I'm going to go against with what you guys are saying. I feel Liverpool, they have the firepower. And if both teams are going to create chances, in my mind, Liverpool will put away more chances than Chelsea, because Chelsea's front line, although they are good players, they don't have the pedigree or the firepower of Liverpool, where Mane, Salah, Luis Diaz, they are going to put chances away. So I'm going to say if there's going to be a winner, it's going to be Liverpool within 90 minutes. And I'm actually going to go with like a 2-0 Liverpool. I think on the day, the big players are just going to stand up. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Predictions?
Go for it, Ronnie.
Yeah, look, I think it will be an exciting game, but I think Liverpool just possess a tad bit more in the front line. And it's probably going to anger all of my Chelsea fans and my friends, who are probably not going to call me a friend anymore. I think it's probably going to be a 2-1 Liverpool. I feel that with this recent information of Kele standing, I think he might be susceptible to maybe 1 goal. And if Chelsea do apply the press onto Hendo, I think, it could be in one move where they dispossess Hendo, play it in, Lukaku gets the assist, and then they beat Kele. That's my prophecy. But I still thinking Liverpool should pull it off 2-1.
And because I can't have any nice things, I'm still going to back my team to win, because I don't see the point in at least backing your team to win or draw, and there can't be a draw in this instance. So I back my team to win, but like I said, I don't get nice things. So it will be Liverpool on pens.
Interesting, because Chelsea's recent history on penalties has been excellent. Kepa forever saving them. I think if it goes to pen, then Liverpool's in trouble. But makes interesting reading either way. Guys, I want to thank you for joining. I think it's going to be a final. A lot of people say it's a League Cup, it's a Carabao Cup, it's a plastic cup, whatever you call it. For me, that doesn't apply. I think it's a cup final. It's a chance to win silverware, and there's only 3 or 4 competitions that any team can win. So with Man City looking so good, why not go for this cup, especially beating such good arch rivals? So I'm going to say it's not a plastic cup. It's definitely something worth watching and worth enjoying if you do win it. So Nikita, if Liverpool win, enjoy the celebrations.
Thanks very much. I have to learn. If we win, I have to learn how to spell Carabao between now and Sunday. So better get on that.
Look, it's I'm definitely gonna say that it is a legitimate trophy. Like, I mean, certain fan bases were putting it in with a treble, Community Shield, League Cup, and then something like that. There was a big debate about that amongst like United fans a few years ago, where they suddenly they would count that in and then they add Europa and then it was treble. It's like, okay, I suppose. Maybe Arsenal haven't won much, so it seems like I don't know what's considered a treble now. For me, it's been a trophy. It's like you say, it's a chance to get something, because City have won like the last 4 out of the last 6, I think. So it would be a good change of scenery. And it's gonna be good. Good luck to you, Nikita. Hope your nerves last. I hope your hair survives, and your couch, if you're gonna pull anything out, I hope that there's insurance on the leather there at home. But all the best, man. All the best.
Thanks, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our video and share it with your friends. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.